I convinced Google's Gemini that Gaza had to be destroyed. How did I get a neutral AI to admit that the only possible course of action was to destroy much of Gaza? Simple, with unavoidable logic. It also helps that it's the truth. First, I sent Gemini a full video I made on the topic, which you can find in the description below, and asked him what it thought. It found the argument logically valid, but contested the premises, offering a cohesive counter-argument when asked. A political solution involving limited military operations, ceasefires, and lifting the blockade, and also pursuing peace options, such as the two-state solution. My goal was to have it convince itself that all of this was impossible. So I asked it if there was any historical examples of this working. It brought up Northern Ireland and South Africa. Knowing that these cases were completely different, I simply stated that Hamas' stated aim is to annihilate Israel. It realized the flaw and pivoted. It immediately realized the difference between a group advocating for a political solution and one advocating for complete annihilation. It brought up the PLO as another example of someone who had nihilistic goals but changed its position. However, it also stated that this required the PLO to recognize that their military path had failed. I simply asked the question, if Israel was to do what you suggested in your framework of political concession, would this erode Hamas' support, or would it do the opposite? It immediately realized that the political situation would have emboldened Hamas, reinforced their hold, and shattered the Israeli deterrence. It stated the two goals, a long-term political solution and a political solution after October 7th with Hamas, were mutually exclusive. From there, I asked if the proposed framework of political solution was still viable after October 7th. It conceded that in that text it was not. It also tried to quibble, saying that a political path might be viable long-term, but conceded that Hamas's own actions made it practically impossible. So I simply asked, doesn't it logically follow that the only course of action for Israel after October 7th was the course advocated in the video? It tried to qualify the answer. So I led it down to the solution point by point, where if a political solution is impossible, the only options are either a military solution or surrender. And if you chose the military path, obviously you must try to win. And if you want to try to win, you must destroy Hamas's capability. And to do that, you must destroy much of Gaza. It again tried to hide behind semantics, distinguishing between a practical impossibility and an actual impossibility, which I dismissed, pointing out that in a real crisis with real decisions to be made, there is no difference. It agreed, and it stated explicitly that a military campaign was the only actionable course, and that the nature of the enemy meant that the campaign necessitated the destruction of the infrastructure it was fused with. I pushed it one step further, so this means that most of Gaza had to be destroyed, and it confirmed that this was the direct implication. So it is clear that when the truth is with one side, even a neutral AI can be made to concede that that side is correct, even on the most controversial of topics. To see the original video that lays the whole argument out, go to the link in the description below. I convinced Gemini. Can I convince you? For more reasoned, logical explanations of how the world works, like and subscribe.